Welcome to Matchday Live, a new season, and I am so excited. Thank you for joining us today. We have some wonderful guests in the studio ahead of the Community Shield against Arsenal. Joining us, as always, he basically lives here. He's back again. It's Mr. Paul Dickov.
How are we?
Hello, sir. We also have two guests on our other sofa. Thankfully, we didn't scare him off last time. He's come back. It's lovely to see you again, Keith Curle.
Thank you very much.
And making his Matchday Live debut. It's always lovely to have a new face. We've got Kevin Campbell.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. Lovely to see you always, Dickie.
Yep, looking forward to today. It's just madness that the season's starting already. It doesn't seem like, watching the clips there, it seemed like 2 minutes ago.
Were you getting goosebumps? And just, it was like it was yesterday.
Yeah, it is. And then obviously seeing the Champions League highlights, goosebumps there, but it literally seems as if that was a few weeks ago. But here we go again.
Here we go again. Playing Arsenal today, of course, Kevin, one of your former clubs, over 160 appearances for Arsenal where you started your career. So you're going to give us some Arsenal insight today.
Yes, going to try to. But we are still trying to catch you guys. And, you know, watching all the footage and all the celebration. This is what we want at Arsenal. That is what we want.
OK, we're going to get into it. We'll find out if you think that might be starting today. Keith, how are you? Good summer?
Yeah, very good. Probably a different summer for myself now, being between jobs. So normally I'm building a squad, building a team, making changes, dealing with agents, players. This season I've had a summer off, recovering from a new hip operation. So slightly different or completely different to what the normal is, but ready to go, ready to enjoy the start of the season.
Well, it's nice for us then because we get to have you here. Yes. Or otherwise we wouldn't. We get to have you here, of course, for our first competitive game of the season, the Community Shield today. Kickoff is 4 p.m. It's at Wembley Stadium. Of course, we're taking on Arsenal. Arsenal were our nearest rivals last season, Paul. Of course, they're invited to the Community Shield today, you know, as the runners-up of the Premier League, because, of course, we won everything. Do you think it's going to be the same this year? Are these two teams going to be battling it out all year?
I think they are, but I also think it's going to be one of the strongest Premier Leagues that we've seen in a long, long time. You know, you look at Arsenal, obviously, Declan Rice, Havertz, Timber, who's a good player, strengthened really well. United have strengthened, Chelsea have strengthened, Liverpool have strengthened. Tottenham will, I'm sure of it, and then you've got teams like Brighton who were fantastic last season. So I think whereas maybe 15 years ago, 10 years ago it was a top two, and then it was a top four, I think it's a top 6 or 7 now. So, but Arsenal, without a shadow of a doubt, after I was speaking to Kevin before and Keith, they were fantastic last year. And I don't think they get the credit that they deserve for how well they'd done, because this time last year nobody would have given them hope of even finishing in the top 4. So the season they had, the momentum they've got from that, and the signings, they're going to be dangerous.
Now, we'll be bringing you team news the second that we're allowed. We've got FG who's down at Wembley. We're getting him in pitch side and we'll be giving you that team news in about 1 minute 30. It's always the first place to get your team news here on Matchday Live. Now, I've got a stat for you all. See who can guess this. OK, so the Community Shield champions have gone on to win the Premier League how many times in the last 12 years? So the people that won the Community Shield went on to win the Premier League how many times?
4.
OK.
2.
3.
Once. Just once. Once in the last 12 years, and that was us in 2018. That's so interesting.
You, isn't it?
We know our football, don't we?
Well, you don't want to win it then, do you? That's the one. You don't want to win.
Yeah.
Well, we'll say that at the end of it, whoever hasn't won.
I might be crying at the end of it, so please.
Well, there was lots of tears in this studio last season, I tell you, Kevin, but all for a very different reason. So thank you so much for joining us on Matchday Live. We've got FG who's down at Wembley. He's going to be trying to grab some guests, some fans, whoever he can get around. He'll be giving you the Arsenal team news and he'll be giving you the Manchester City team news as well. Look at his little face. He's so happy. He's always the happiest man around. That is FG, by the way. That is not our new signing, Guardiola. Loving that content, by the way, FG. Absolutely. I thought FG's life had peaked. And then I saw an announcement video with Guardiola and FG, and I thought, this is it. He really has peaked now. But we'll be going over to FG, who's going to be letting us know, is Guardiola in the squad? Who is playing today? FG, tell us everything you know.
Welcome to Wembley, aka the Etihad South. Thank you, Natalie, for the amazing introduction. Let's bring you that incredible team news. I can bring you. It's our first player, of course, our goalkeeper, Ortega. And then we have our captain, Kyle Walker. We have John Stones, Ruben Diaz. Manuel Akanji, Rodrigo, Kovacic, Bernardo, Grealish, Alvarez and Haaland. Substitutes for us today: Ederson, Calvin Phillips, Emerick Laporte, Kevin De Bruyne, great to see him back on the bench, Gomez, Foden, Palmer, Lewis and James McAtee. Welcome back to the Etihad, and look who I am joined by. It is none other than Manchester City fan, an absolute legend, Big Steve. Welcome to Wembley. We've seen the team. Let's go straight into it. Let's talk about our back four. We've Akanji left back, do you think, Steve?
Yeah, looking at that, I think Akanji will play left back. Probably Stone's going to pop up on the right, coming into midfield. But it's a strong team, and I'm really looking forward to it. Now the atmosphere's building nice, and I can't wait to get the game on.
Now, I'm certain City fans will be super excited to see our new signings. We've not got Vardell with us yet, quite yet. We're not going to start the memes now, but we have got Ruben Diaz and John Stones as our back two, and City fans watching, City fans all around the world will be so happy with that, because they're incredible together, aren't they?
Yeah, the defence, especially towards the end of last season, superb. We've just got to start where we left off, you know what I mean? Akanji at left back, he's played there, so there's no problems there. Ruben Diaz, last season when he came in, I thought he changed the season for us. And John Stones, he's a cult hero in this football club now. They even ran out of number 5s in the club shop the other day, so we're looking good at the back.
A start for Mateo Kovacic, new signing. Absolutely brilliant. He had a great pre-season. He looked like he just settles in. He's so good on the ball, isn't he?
Yeah, he's so good on the ball. I think Pep's had his eye on him for a while. He's seen an opportunity, brought him in. We've seen him pre-season, and he was so calm. He was just like you said, like he played for Manchester City all his life, and I'm looking forward to it. I think the intensity today with Arsenal playing a strong side is going to be high, and I think Kovacic with his experience and that in the middle with Rodri is exactly what we need.
Now, we will talk about the Arsenal team news. We'll bring that later on in the show. Let's talk about our last competitive game and a man who's watched his goal thousands and thousands of times. I'm sure everybody watching's watched it thousands and thousands of times. Rodri, he is super important to us. He's back playing, and he's starting the season again for us.
No, he's brilliant. He's a bit of an unsung hero, you know what I mean? He just goes about his business. Every week he plays superb. And that goal, if he's watched it 5,000 times, I think I've watched it 10,000 times in every language, in every channel on YouTube. So, it's brilliant.
And let's talk about the importance of him in the midfield for the back four as well, because I feel like the back four always looks a lot more solid when you've got him in front. He makes football look super easy. And he is just he's gone under the radar a little bit. We used to have like cult heroes. Gareth Barry was similar, under the radar, but this man's a different level, isn't he?
Yeah, he stepped up. He's so good. You know, he's that outlet from the defence. Soon as anyone in the back four gets the ball, we're looking at Rodri to make space. He's quick on the turn, and then he gets Manchester City transitioning into attack. So Rodri's a really important piece of this Manchester City side, and you'll see today in that midfield there's some quality names in there, and let's hope Rodri can get a grip of the game early doors.
Now, we've got Bernardo in the starting lineup as well as Kovacic. I have a dream that these two just keep the ball, because I can imagine them doing it. Do you think Bernardo's going to be playing in the midfield? Because it looks like it's probably going to be Alvarez on the right-hand side, if we're guessing, but you just never know, do you?
No, you're right, you just don't know. I mean, looking on paper, it does look like Bernardo's in the middle. I think the work rate of Bernardo in there is key. It is interesting to see Alvarez out on the right-hand side. You know, with Riyad now leaving, is this an opportunity for him to stake a claim, for the right wing position? Yeah,
of course, Riyad was so great for us. We'll touch on him real quickly. An amazing player for us, amazing servant for us. He's won it all in England, and he's gone on to new pastures, but very appreciated by City fans, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been here, he's done it, he's got the T-shirt, he's won the treble. There's no better way of leaving the football club when you've just won the treble. So, we wish him well. Riyad Mahrez was really good for Manchester City Football Club, and he'll be missed. But new season, new start, and this could be Alvarez's time to shine.
It could be indeed. Now, we've also got some very special guests in the studio, in particular Paul Dickov. What a legend. Let's go ask Paul about what he thinks about Erling Haaland and how many goals he's going to score. Let's head back to them.
Thanks so much to FG and to Big Steve, their pitch side at Wembley, both living their best lives. Right, then he set me up, Paul. He's made it easy for us. What do you think of Erling Haaland, and how many goals is he going to score?
Yeah, he's not bad, is he? You know what I mean?
You can say that again.
I think, look, when we signed him last summer, there was huge excitement about how many goals, and people were saying 25, 30 goals, he's going to beat 30 goals, but to score 52 goals, it's ridiculous, really. And to think he was still settling in. And I remember remember speaking to Alfie halfway through the season, and they felt that he was only at 60-70%. He was still finding his feet. And going towards the end of the season, I think his whole general play improved under Pep. Now that he's got that one season under his belt, going into this season, he could break all sorts of records again.
I got asked a question, funny enough, on Friday on Radio 5 Live. Will Haaland get more goals this season than last season? I said, yes, he will. And they said, why do you reckon?
Okay.
I said, because he knows the Premiership now. He's had a year with the players. The players know his game a lot better. And it doesn't matter who you bring on, they know how to find Haaland. So I think he's going to get more.
What's your best return?
I don't think I got 52 goals my whole career, Keith. Never mind in one season.
I think I got 37.
Yeah.
That's 18 years.
Yeah, so, but it's just that now that he's... Historically, it takes players a season under Pep to get used to it. You know, there's only very few that come in and hit the ground running straight away. And now he's had that season with the players he's got around him, the creativity he's got around him. I think it could be scary again.
Is it fair to say, though, it's not just a year for him to settle in, but it's a year for the other players around him to get used to playing? Because obviously it's been such a long time since we've played with an out-and-out striker as well.
It is, and you know, you look previous season before Erling came in, the amount of... They were trying to not walk the ball into the net, but they had to play... The football had to be so intricate to create the chances because we didn't have that centre forward. Now, you see the goals that he scored outside the box, headers, inside the box, scissors kicks, tap-ins... Karate kicks.
Unbelievable.
What are you thinking when you're watching?
I'm watching, you know, as a striker,
Yeah.
I'm watching... You've got to head that, you know. You've got to head it. His legs up there. It's like karate. He's an incredible striker, incredible player, incredible goal scorer, and is a scorer of great goals as well. Not just tap-ins. So he's what Manchester City really needed to get over the line in the Champions League, because you have to account for him.
You'll be happy to know, Kevin, that was him scoring in our first pre-season friendly. He'd been on the pitch for 2 minutes. So just to perhaps relay any nerves that you were having then. Yes.
But guys, it's his mentality as well, isn't it? He can touch the ball twice.
Yeah.
In 30-35 minutes. He doesn't get frustrated. He keeps making the runs. He genuinely believes that when he gets a chance, he's going to score.
Yeah.
And at the start of the season, people were saying, has he picked the right team? He's not touching the ball enough. It's like, come on, hang on a minute.
Yeah. Looking just behind him on the pitch today then, Big Steve and FG were talking about a pitch side, Keith. We've got Grealish, Bernardo and Alvarez. Do you think Bernardo's going to be central today?
I think they will be rotation in their play, and I think we both said it. We made that, you know, when they mentioned the bench. That's game changers on the bench, and I think what Pep's building, it's not just about week in, week out throughout the season. Now it's not going to be about team; it's about the squad. The squad have got to turn up and get results, and when you've got a bench with that strength, they are game changers.
Yeah, and a bench as well. So lovely to see, of course, McAtee, Oscar Bob, Cole Palmer, who all had, I think, really good pre-seasons as well. It's great to see them on the bench as well. In terms of when you look at that team, Kevin, apart from obviously Erling Haaland, who we've just mentioned, who are the players that are standing out to you? Who are you going to be keeping an eye on when you're watching?
Everyone. I mean, you look at the squad, and the squad is so seasoned. They're experienced. They've, as we know, they've won the treble. A lot of the young lads coming in were getting game time last season as well, which was important. You mentioned McAtee. He got great minutes at Sheffield United last season. So I look at the team. Obviously, Kevin De Bruyne is the one for me who I think when things get a little bit tight, he's the one player he's got that key to the lock. He can unlock any door. And I think that link up with Haaland at the back end of last season was crucial. But Silva made a massive contribution against Real Madrid, didn't he? You know, he was a game changer. Grealish found his feet properly last year. £100 million. People are calling him out. And what does he do? He goes and wins the treble and becomes a game changer for Manchester City. So there are top players everywhere. But, you know, there's one player I look at. It's John Stones. I think...
Sensational.
That change from... being centre-back, sometimes he's moved to right-back and going into that midfield area and getting forward and scoring goals and being such a good team player. I think he's an unsung hero for me.
Oh, we absolutely adore him. That was the James McAtee goal, of course, from pre-season as well. James McAtee on the bench today. I think that we all love him, but it's such an interesting point, Paul. And I'm wondering, do you think the John Stones inverted into midfield position that we saw so successfully at the end of last season, is that going to be something that is going to become commonplace again this year, or was it a needs must at the time?
No, I think, people talk about Pep and say sometimes there's no plan B, which is ridiculous. He's constantly looking of little tiny things to change. And John Stones moving into that midfield area. We love creating overloads out wide. Talk about Jack Grealish getting 2 or 3 players to him before you know it's out the opposite side. They're 2v1s. That's what they're doing in midfield now. Because teams have become a little bit wise. The new Rodri was the one that was starting everything off, whether it be Bernardo and Kevin in front of them. So they were just going man for man. And it was difficult. They were playing deep. Now with John Stones going in there, it creates the overload in the middle of the park, and it's causing teams all sorts of problems. And it's not just the positional sense with John Stones. He's such a good footballer as well. And we've seen him pre-season, end of last season. Sometimes he's a further player forward and he's playing centre half. Yeah. And if you're an opposition manager, Keith, I don't know, how do you play against that? How do you set up?
I think John Stones' transition, when he first came in, I think we mentioned it last time, when he came in, he wasn't reliable, consistent, dependable. Now he's got that against his name now, and that's able then. He's bought into the way Pep wants to play, and he plays the game so simply, and he makes the game look simple, even where if he's playing at the back, right side, left back, in the middle, if he steps into midfield, he's got a good understanding of the game and how the game needs to be played.
Yes, Johnny Stones, who does start today, of course, for City Community Shield against Arsenal. We've got FG down at Wembley. He's going to bring us the Arsenal team news now.
He is indeed. Here is the Arsenal team to play Manchester City. The goalkeeper is Ramsdale. Then it is Ben White, Thomas Partey, Gabriel, Bukayo Saka, Odegaard's the captain, Martinelli, Saliba, Timber, Havertz and Rice. Now here we are pitside, Big Steve. We've seen the team. We wanted to start with the goalkeeper, didn't we? Aaron Ramsdale. He had a good season last year for Arsenal. How do you think he did, and how do you think he'll do in the season ahead?
I think he's a good goalkeeper. I think he's important to how Arsenal play. They like to play out from the back now. He's very good with his feet. He had a good season. It's interesting because they're on the verge of signing a new goalkeeper, I think, so that could put a little bit of pressure on him. Sometimes you need that, if you get a bit comfortable, you need a bit of competition. And if another goalkeeper comes in, I think he's got a fight on his hands. But no, he's a good goalkeeper.
It's just a massive, massive game for him in different times. Arsenal will be desperate to get silverware. Last season, it was a little bit difficult with their strength and depth, especially in the back four. There's a man who's slotted in, is the new signing. It's Timber from Ajax. What do you make of that signing, and what do you think about him?
No, he's a great player. He's young. He's Dutch international. I think last season, towards the end of the season, Arsenal suffered a few injuries, and when they had to bring players in, they brought in Kiwior. He was very inexperienced, a new signing from Poland, and then Rob Holding came in. So he's going to add squad depth. He's going to add quality. He's young, and Mikel Arteta's really done well in this transfer window.
I mean, it is interesting, isn't it, to look at the back four, because Timber can play in any position, really. He can play right back, we saw him play left back as well. He can also step into midfield at times when he wants to, as we see our goalkeepers coming out behind us. Amazing atmosphere at Wembley as well. But yeah, let's talk about that. Well, do you think he'll be rotating very much similar to how, sort of, dare I say it, Pep and Pep's teams do?
Listen, he's worked with Pep for so long. He's obviously seen things that Pep does. They're going to rub off on him. We've seen him play out from the back. We've seen him, do similar things to Pep. And I think with players like Timber, when they can play in multiple positions, we've got a Kanji who can do the same. He can play left, he can play right, he can play centre. John Stones, he can do the same. So yeah, I think Mikel's looking at the Pep blueprint, and he's sort of tweaking it and copying it.
And of course the midfield, they've got a record signing in there. Declan Rice seems like a great signing for them. He's going to be next to Partey in midfield. How do you think he's going to do it, and do you think that was the missing piece in the jigsaw for them last year?
Yeah, I mean, Declan Rice is a great player. He's gone for over £100 million. He plays really well for England. I've watched him a few times for England. He's coming off the back of a European trophy at West Ham. He's got his step up now. He's stepping up from West Ham to Arsenal. He's playing in the Champions League. There's a lot of pressure on him now at Arsenal. At West Ham he was the favourite guy there. He was captain and stuff like that, and everybody loved him. At Arsenal he's got a big price tag attached to him. there's no hiding place. And in that midfield today, when you've got Rodri in there and Kovacic, he's going to be in for a tough day.
And it's a massive, massive step up as well when you're playing with a team with Arsenal. Obviously, of course, we love West Ham. He was brilliant at West Ham. But when you come into a club that's playing every week and they're wanting to win every single game, for him, do you think he's going to need some time to settle in?
I do, yeah, I do. I think he's going to need a lot of time to settle in, but these Arsenal fans, I know quite a few of them, they're not that forgiving, you know what I mean? They're going to expect results and instant success, and we're quite fortunate at Manchester City that we're quite relaxed with our players and that, and we don't put too much pressure on them, but Declan's got a lot of pressure and he's got to deliver.
He has indeed got to deliver. Let's talk about Kai Havertz, a man that we've seen a lot at Chelsea. There's a goal that sticks out in my mind. Do you think he's playing up front today?
Looking at the team, it's possible he could play up front. Yeah, don't remind me of that goal, yeah.
I don't want to know about
nightmares,
it either, but it's painful, isn't it?
But he's another signing. To be honest, it was a strange one. It came out of left field. Nobody was really linked with him. I mean, Mikel's obviously seen something in him. You know, did he go a little bit stale at Chelsea? Is this a fresh start for him? You know, it's a new season, new start, new club. But I think the jury's out on him at the minute. Nobody knows what to expect from Havertz.
Really sorry to everyone watching the Matchday live show. I just heard that they did just replay that goal, so thankfully we're at pitchside and we don't have to watch it again. But we are the champions of Europe. We've won the treble. Life is good, isn't it, Steve? Let's also touch on Odegaard, captain. Great player, isn't he?
Yeah, he had a really good season last year. You know, he's captain. He's a big part of what Arsenal do, and you know, we've got to look out for him today. We've got to close him down early. We can't let him to get on the ball and start trying to dictate in the middle. We need to make sure we don't give him any space, and everything Arsenal do seems to go through Odegaard, so he's really important for them.
And let's also touch on Saliba as well. A massive fan favourite for Arsenal. He's been absolutely brilliant last season, and to be honest, they missed him when he wasn't in the team, didn't they?
Yeah, he's a superstar. He's young. He's an aggressive centre back. He's great to watch. And as you've seen near the end of the season, when they really needed him, unfortunately he picked up an injury, and they really suffered with that. He's coming back now. He's got a bit of cover with Timber. Declan Rice is going to cover in the middle, so I'm sure Saliba this season, you know, is going to have a great season.
What do you think about Keith Curle in the studio? Do you think he would have been able to play with Saliba and great legs for him as well? I think it would have been a great partnership.
Who Curly Whirly? He's my generation, Keith, so I love him. No, Keith Curle was a Rolls Royce of a centre back. He was absolutely.
I'll tell you what, Curly Whirly, let's go and get the reaction of you. You are an absolute legend. Great to see you.
Curly Whirly, I love that. Oh, that's very nice. Is that what they used to chat, Curly Whirly?
Yeah, Curly Whirly, I still get it now. Overseeing my kids in Manchester, or when I go out, I still get the Curly Whirly show.
Love it, absolutely love it. So yes, we do have Keith Curle in the studio, Paul Dickov, and we are joined by Kevin Campbell for his first show on Matchday Live. So I'll come to you first, Kevin. Obviously, with over 200 appearances for Arsenal, you are the one to talk about this team. The three new signings that you made over the summer that Arsenal have made all start today, all getting their competitive debuts today. You must be pleased to see that.
Yeah, very pleased. The way the season finished last season, just the lack of depth. You know, they done fantastically well. But the key is to try and bridge the gap to Manchester City. You're the yardstick. So going out and acquiring Havertz, which I thought was really good business. I think he's a good player, can play multiple positions. Jurriën Timber, who can play multiple positions as well. But the piece de resistance, the cream of the crop, was Declan Rice. And getting him in, I think, is going to help Arsenal. Not just this season, I think over the next 4, 5, 6 seasons to try and bridge that gap, because Arsenal are in the mix now to challenge for trophies. That's what it is. It's win now zone. Where Manchester City are, Arsenal have now entered that zone, win now. So I think he's going to be a key player for Arsenal right now.
Yeah, really important signing, obviously linked to a few clubs over the summer. Big money signing for them. In terms of Declan Rice, how much pressure do you think he's under, Keith? Obviously coming in, he's been very highly touted over the last few years, obviously for England and for West Ham. How much pressure do you think he's under? Like FG was talking about it, and how well suited do you think he's going to be to this Arsenal team?
Again, I think coming in with the price tag won't affect him. I think he's an international player. He's a top player. He knows you play for Arsenal, you've got to perform. but that will be a given. I think personally that when I watched him play for England and then watched him play at West Ham, I'm thinking put him around other players. He's got another level that he can go to, and I think this season will be a good season for him because I think he's got all the dynamics that you want. I think he's quicker than what he shows as well. Or the impression that I had of him, I think like he's quicker than what I thought, and I think if Arsenal can get him playing, get him on the front foot, I think he can be a big player for them.
Yeah, clearly absolute improvement on the squad for them as well. And Kevin mentioned Kai Havertz there as well, who's become an even more important signing, obviously, with the sad news for Gabriel Jesus this week that he's had to have an operation and that he's injured again, which is obviously gutting for him to start the season that way. So that Havertz signing has become even more important.
It has, but like Kevin, I've always liked him. I think Chelsea didn't play him to his strengths, what he was good at. You know, he's not a player. I know he probably plays the false nine today, but he's not a player who is going to run him behind. He's not a player. He needs to see things in front of him, and I think that number 8 role, whether it's in front of a Declan Rice or in front of a Partey with Odegaard in there, I think he's going to make a big difference for them alongside Declan Rice. Look, everybody's going to be speaking about Declan Rice because of the price tag, because of his age and everything else, but I think Havertz is a really, really good signing because he's such a talented player.
Incredible midfield as well that Arsenal have. I know for those of us that play fantasy football, Kev, we had all your midfielders in our fantasy football team at some point. I had Saka, Odegaard and Martinelli, pretty much the three of them for a large part of the season. Saka had an incredible season last year to bounce back, of course, from what happened in the Euros as well. What a phenomenal player. Came through your academy as well. Must be a player you're very proud to watch.
Yep, very proud to watch. Seeing his development. And, you know, it's what's quite interesting, seeing a player actually develop in the first team. Yeah. He's developed in the first team from such a young age, 18, 19, 20. He's only 21 now, and he's become a world star, signed his new contract and hasn't taken a backward step. He's just got better and better. And a young man at 21 years old who's won Player of the Season at Arsenal for 2 seasons. He's won it too. Odegaard won it last season, 2 previous seasons. He won it. And that's some going, 18, 19, 19, 20. You know, for somebody so young to win Player of the Season, 2 years on the spin is huge.
I didn't realise he was 21 still, like, yes.
Baby.
Well, one of the impressive things about, look at Saka, look at Declan Rice, Ramsdale, Odegaard, and I think this is where Mikel's changed it around it. They seem really good people as well. Yeah,
good human beings.
Humble, hard-working, and then you put the talent with that. Whereas previously, and I'm not speaking at a turn, but, you know, when you've Aubameyang, the big hitters that were in there that seemed to cause a problem in the changing room. It seems as now he's got a really, really good changing room, and that translates to what you get in the pitch as well.
Yeah, and of course, it's here at Manchester City, we know all about how important that is in terms of the recruitment of good people and good men and intelligent people off the pitch as well. Looking at the rest of the team there, mentioned Martinelli, and we touch on Odegaard there. Martinelli is some talent, Keith, isn't he? We're going to have to keep an eye on him today.
Yeah, definitely. Again, the manager's building a squad at Arsenal, and again, I think just going back, there was a period when things weren't going Arsenal's way, but the clubs had an understanding and a vision of what they wanted the football club to look like, and they're getting closer and closer to that now. Obviously, we don't want them to get too close, but you can see the building blocks that they've put in place, the mentality, the change of the mentality within that changing room now. And again, they did have a lot of egos. They did have a lot of personalities. Now they are gaining that unity, and you can tell that unity's coming and being led by the manager. And I think it's excellent to watch. Very similar to what Man City have done and are doing here.
In terms of the psychology of the game, I'd love to get into this, but we'll run out of time. Kevin, how important is it that Arsenal beat us today, given the fact that we beat Arsenal 3 times last season? And there was a feeling that almost I sensed from the games that City had won before the game had even started. So how psychologically important is it?
I got that impression as well, you know. That City had won before the game. It's been a long time since Arsenal have beaten Man City. I think just for the psychology of the players, there's a bit of silverware there, which is one thing. But for the psychology, to be able to beat your closest rival, who you're trying to reel in, I think will be huge. Treble winners, if you can get that over you, then it makes Declan Rice feel better, it makes Timber feel better, it makes Mikel Arteta feel better, Havertz, etc. Everybody feels better just for this one win, and you take it through to the season.
Do you think it means more for Arsenal to win today than it does Man City because of that?
100%, Paul, 100%. I think it's essential for Arsenal to win. If you've got designs on winning the league, you've got to take Man City down at some stage, and there's nothing better than today. Take them down today, go into the season with that impetus.
Part of the reason why I really want to win today is just to, again, not give Arsenal any psychological advantage into thinking that they can beat us, to go 4 games in a row winning. I think, yes, very, very important today. So we have a little treat for you today, as our very own Nadem Anua is going to break down for you some of the tests that City's defence might face against Arsenal today.
So this is Arsenal versus Manchester City in the Community Shield, and I'm going to run you through some of the best attacking bits of Arsenal and possibly how City will be able to defend against it. And I think one thing that we saw last season was the fact that Arsenal's main threats, they were out wide here with a Saka, with a Martinelli, a Trossard as well, but then also someone like an Odegaard. And I think the way that City played against them, especially in the second game of the season last year, was the fact that they were really good 1v1. I think in this particular game, Akanji was magnificent. I think the game before, Ake was magnificent. On this side, Kyle Walker against Martinelli was absolutely fantastic. And I think that's what you need to do, because these are the guys that scoring 10 plus goals, getting 10 plus assists. But this year, there's a slight wrinkle. They've got something a bit different. They've brought in Havertz, and this is alongside Odegaard. So when you look at the way that they play, they do want to move the ball slowly, then inject the pace and create a 1v1 in this situation. But this tends to come with the support of Ben White on this side. And this means that on this side, someone like a Jack Grealish, if he does play on that side, has to come and support the fullback. And they were magnificent with that last season. But here's the difference now. Gabriel Jesus, sometimes he has a tendency to drop. Well, this year, they've got Havertz, who's somebody who's very comfortable stepping into that space. So it's another question that's going to be asked of you. Do you go with him, or do you stay here? Do you protect the space, or do you go with the man? And then on this side again, because of the fact that they're more lopsided, with Zinchenko or whoever it may be coming into midfield, can you really deal with this player 1v1? We saw last season with Kyle Walker, he was exceptional, but Arsenal still very much have that threat. I think this year, they've seen the fact that they've played well last year, but they couldn't quite get over the line. Well, why was that? They did not score enough goals. They did not defend well enough. Well, I think this year, given the signings that they've got with Rice, with Havertz so far, and Timber, I think they're going to be better this year. I think for Man City, again, it's a case of understanding and knowing what they're going to do. Can you handle the 1v1s? Can you make the right decisions in terms of when to go short or when to try and stay with your man? But then also realise there's going to be a lot of threat around here. The link-up play of an Odegaard, the link-up play of a Havertz. Saka is probably going to potentially have his best season again. Martinelli in around this space, and the support from the fullbacks and a little bit of support from behind as well. But given it's Man City, I'm sure they'll find a way to do it.
Love that from Nadem. That was his kind of breakdown of how our defence will handle Arsenal's attack today. But of course, since he did that, Gabriel Jesus has been confirmed injured. So of course, he is not playing today. But love that from Nadem. We're absolutely packing the show filled today with legends. And FG, who is down at Wembley, has found another Manchester City legend. There he is with our Sean Wright-Phillips.
Work on your technique.
Is he standing
I am indeed with Sean Wright-Phillips. Sorry, Sean was just laughing at the cameraman Darryl, who kicked the ball back, and it was horrendous apparently, according to Sean. Sean, let's talk about the tour. We had a great time. What were your impressions of the team from tour?
It surprised me a lot, because obviously pre-season was a bit different. It was a lot shorter than anybody would have anticipated, especially from an ex-player's point of view. But the games that they played in, they were all different in different ways. I think the Atletico Madrid game was more tense and aggressive. I think the Yokohama game, they were in the middle of their season, so their fitness was at a different level. And I just think they were prepared right, and happily we got away with not really any bad injuries apart from Ake's little tweak. Everything was fine.
Let's go straight into the new signings. We did see a little bit of Kovacic, but now Vardiol has arrived as well. What are your thoughts on the signings?
Well, you know what I think anyway about Kova from what I told you when we was away on tour. I think for me possibly he's the closest thing we'll get to obviously Gundogan. He still himself said he wanted to learn off him, and he wish he could have been here to see him play, to learn obviously the goal scoring and the third man run. But I think in the team that he's playing in, with the manager and the coaches that he's got, that part will come naturally.
Now, City versus Arsenal, absolutely box office. It's what a lot of people are really excited to see. They've made some new signings. What do you make on their new signings?
They're good. They've got a lot to keep up with in regards to an awakening of what they're stepping into, because the Premier League isn't a joke, and playing against Man City is even tougher. So I think it's going to be tough in respects of that. but I think that they'll be ahead in fitness terms over City because they've had a longer pre-season and they played in a Premiership series, which was way more intense, way more aggressive, as we've seen through some of the tackles that are floating around on social media. So I think it'll be a good game, though.
Okay, so all three signings are starting for Arsenal today: Timber, Rice, Havertz. Do you see them as starters throughout the season, do you think? Or do you think they've just been bought in just for the depth?
No, I think Declan's a starter for me, Rice. I would start him if I was the manager in that team. Kai, I'm not sure. I don't know what position they're going to play him in. I did think they might play him in the advanced Granit Xhaka role that he played, but I still think they're working that part. And Timber as well. I'm not sure, but it is nice to see Arteta doing what he's meant to do. He's not getting rid of players, he's getting rid of players, but he's also building on that depth, so he keeps the right ones and makes that squad bigger and deeper.
And Timber, of course, as well, a man who can play in many different positions: left back, right back, centre half. Maybe he might step into midfield as well. It's just added depth, and it's super what they needed, right?
Yeah, because I think that's where they faltered. That's where they failed last season. I think Saliba got injured, and it was almost they didn't know what to do or who to replace him with. And by the time they realised who to replace him with, it was gone. City were now on top, and they were chasing. And when City's in the position they were in last year, where they just keep winning, there's not many teams that can keep up with them, as Liverpool's seen as well. Now Arsenal's seen.
So last season we kept winning. What do you think about this season? What are you hoping to achieve? You've been there. You've been in good sides and you've had good runs. And it's always a case of when the season starts afresh. These players are treble holders, and will that help them go to the next level?
Yeah, but I don't think we should be focusing on that. I think for me it's Community Shield. They don't need the pressure yet. Nobody needs it. At the end of the day, we do what City do, take every game as it comes, one game after the other, and the aim is to just win as many games as possible and see where it takes us.
Nat actually in the studio gave us a really, really good stat, which was the last 12 winners of the Community Shield, only one of them have won the Premier League. A bit of a mental stat, that is. I guess who the team was who won the Premier League as well, who won the Community Shield?
You know I'm bad at general knowledge, of course.
Manchester City.
But do you know what? It's important. I think if we can win this one, it's important. It's another trophy to the collection and that winning mentality.
Before we go back, let's get your score prediction. And then we do have a question from Paul Dickov in the studio as well.
Is he on a booster seat?
Let's get your score prediction first, Sean.
Do you know what? I think it's going to go to penalties, to be honest with you. I hope we win on penalties, but I think that's where it will end up.
Interesting. Now, so your question to Paul Dickov is whether he's got a booster seat.
Yes, correct.
Well, his question was sort of similar. I'll let you guys watching at home decide, but we'll just let Paul Dickov answer the question.
I've actually got two now, FG. One is he standing in a hole?
Are you standing in a hole?
Yes, I was born in a hole.
I'm not getting involved in any of this. It's great to see you both. You're both absolute legends. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll head back to the studio and let Natalie answer it.
Thanks so much to FG. I love every single time I see Sean Phillips and Paul Dickov, they say these same things to each other. How many years have you been doing this?
Well, he's not grown in about 20 years anyway, so no, a long time. I love him though. He knows that.
Yes, we absolutely love him. Great work there by FG and Sean Phillips pitch side at Wembley. Now, we do have a special guest with us today. If you would like to ask any of our guests any questions, by the way, you can use the WhatsApp. Get them in and I will ask as many as I possibly can. If you want to get an Arsenal opinion, if you think they might be our nearest rivals, then Kev is the man to ask her. Of course, we've got Keith and Paul. Ask them anything that you want. And it is lovely to have you here today, Kev. Thank you so much for coming on and joining us on your first show. You have a bit of a connection with both of our guests today, which is lovely. So we're going to just spend a little bit of time focusing on Kevin Campbell, which I like. So you started off your career at Arsenal, of course, and at that time, there was another certain man at Arsenal as well.
Yeah, he used to be my boot boy.
Yeah, I know.
He was your boot boy?
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah, Paul, yeah.
He looked after me so well as a young kid. On and off the pitch, which I don't know was a...
Good lad, good family, and we shared loads of good times. Yeah. And at that time, the youngsters had to do the duties, but you were never, as a pro and going into the first team, you always tried to look after the young ones, the good ones.
Okay.
And he was one of the good ones.
So question for you, how good was he at cleaning your boots?
10 out of 10.
And question for you, because I've heard this from a few players, did he give you a good tip at Christmas?
Fantastic tip.
Well, there we go. Of course, course, so you had your time at Arsenal, Forest, Everton, West Brom. What was your fondest moment, your fondest time of your career?
Well, I supported Arsenal as a boy, so playing for Arsenal obviously was number one. But the greatest moment in my career, apart from making my debut at Arsenal, was the Great Escape at West Bromwich Albion, where nobody gave us a chance of staying up. The team had been bottom at Christmas and bottom at New Year, and every team after that had gone down. And we ended up staying up on the final game of the season, and that was my first goal against Man City.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was my first goal for West Brom against Man City, yeah.
You have a phenomenal record against us, by the way. Annoyingly, your record against City was better than any other team you played against. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that, actually. I didn't know that. But I think, if I'm honest, after the first game I played against Man City at Main Road was against this man.
Okay.
And for me, as a young player, I remember going there, great stadium, etc. And Keith was the captain, the leader, aggressive, strong, quick. His pace could get him out of trouble. So it was a big learning curve for me. He was one of the toughest players I played against because I was a youngster learning my trade. And after that, I was thinking to myself, I've learned so much playing against Keith today. I've learned so much, honestly.
Keith, do you remember playing against Kevin?
Yeah, and against Paul as well. I think there's, probably two different players to play against. Kevin was the type of player that's big, strong, physical, aggressive. He was a player that you didn't wake up, because if you rattled into the back of him and woke him up, you were going to have a torrid afternoon, because he would have a point to prove, you ain't bullying me, you're not intimidating me, and you'd wake him up. Dicko, on the other hand, you knew you were going to have 95 minutes of an angry Scotsman who's going to chase you. So it was one of those you had to rattle him early, but knowing that you were going to get rattled all game and he was always going to be there. But that's a different contrast of back in the day, the different type of personalities that you were playing against.
Oh, I love that so much. I love that, Paul. When he went on to say two different players, one of them was big and tall, I thought, oh.
Yeah, he's definitely not talking about me. On that.
Kevin, we actually asked you before to pick your three City opponents, the hardest three players, City, that you played against. And you did. You picked Keith.
Yeah, Keith was the first. Second was centre-half, obviously another centre-half, Sylvain Distin. I think Sylvain was a fantastic player. Could do everything, really. Couldn't he? He could do everything. Tall, strong, quick. And that negated some of what I did. So you have to try and do things another way, because you can't bully everybody. You can't outpace everybody. So you have to learn how to maybe drop a bit deeper and get him into positions where he doesn't want to come out the hole. And third isn't a centre-half, actually. It was Georgie King-Clancy.
What a player.
And let me tell you something. As a striker, when you stand in as a striker beside someone like Keith, and Georgie King-Clancy picks that ball up in midfield and he starts going through, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's so hard. So, yeah, he's a third on that list.
Oh, I love that. I have so many Georgie King-Clancy memories. I absolutely love that. In the West Brom goal that we just scored, was that David James in goal?
Yeah.
It was. I thought it was. Well, that is lovely timing, because we're going to go back over to Wembley now, because FG is pitch side. He's standing on Sean Wright-Phillips' box right now, because he is with David James. FG, ask David James if he remembers Kevin Campbell scoring against him. Oh, he's on his tiptoes. He is.
Oh, I can't believe I've just been caught out being on my tiptoes from one legend to another. David James, you absolute hero. It's a shame you're this tall, but it's a pleasure to join you at Wembley.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and I apologise for being so tall.
Well, you make me look very small. Let's go straight into it, and let's talk goalkeepers.
Yeah.
Our goalkeeper, Stefan Ortega, what a number two he is.
Oh, do you know what? Last time I saw Stefan play was here, FA Cup final. And for all the viewers who were watching the game, that save at the end which kept the 1-0, kept the 2-1 scoreline, and helped City get the treble.
He also had a very good pre-season, actually.
Yes.
He's a great shot stopper, isn't he?
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, and confident with his feet, everything that you would want a Man City goalkeeper to be able to do, Stefan could do it.
Let's go on to the other side, Aaron Ramsdale.
Yes.
Potentially under a little bit of pressure because of speculation that they're bringing another to it.
What do you say?
I just want to ask the question whether you feel under that pressure yourself as well.
Yes. When I was at Liverpool, Bradford came in. I was number one until I wasn't number one. There was a bit of flip-flopping and then I left. I think Aaron Ramsdale is very interesting because, as I said, obviously a former negotiator, he is potentially the next in line for a lot of people. If he was to lose his place at Arsenal, then England are going to suffer as well. So if it happens, we wait and see. But David Raya has been a phenomenal goalkeeper for the last few years, and yeah.
You know when your team is actively looking for a goalkeeper and you don't know whether it's the number one or the number two, and on the day, is that in your mind like, oh, I've got everything 100%?
Everyone's shooting for the community still, and from what I've seen in pre-season, Aaron Ramsdale's been doing a few things slightly different to what he was doing last season. So this is my has to be because it's Arsenal, they want to win trophies, and you have to be the best and expect competition. If he starts playing differently today, then it might be that if it would be, I'll be saying, I'll show you that you don't need anyone else.
Of course, before we wrap up, people who read the book past that, there's about a new time.
Yes, man, 21 years old, not goals that he scored in his career. Only two of them have been away from home. One a fresh kind of thing started to go down, and one for the final soccer. So he's scored away from for ages. But now he's a Man City. There's a chance he can be one of those.
We're looking at another bit early on Friday. Back. Campbell and Paul Dickov. Natalie Pike. Any questions for anyone?
It's a good I'll tell you what, it's a beautiful day here. I might even make this spot.
I think it depends how Manchester City set up. But Rice is going to play in that position, or Rice is just going to move a little bit forward in order to release the left back, which is what Hemp who can move into midfield. Arsenal like to play the ball and moving forward. Manchester City play maybe a flatter 4-9-1. I think Rice will sit a lot more.
You've got a Dan Rice on the pitch, you've got Rosh on the pitch, phenomenal players there. What do you think they feel like maybe today?
I think it's going to be a case of the shape at possession and where they get moved around on the prowess when they get the ball. Like so it's not simple, but it's the theme by the players to make position. And so some counter attacks from being that because Man City have phenomenal and the ball from side to side. What they do, they're intelligent. They understand that the opposition is defending it and they move it around. It's going to be then how we can springboard and have an impact on the game as an attack threat from being you're in a single play perhaps because if you then movement You don't do it. You don't do nothing. And I think here last season where we could tell the two minds, the tactical minds, they wanted to go press. So they invited the press, and then so started invited the press, and then bypassed Haaland into De Bruyne goal, and then got a plan B. So yeah, the midfield is very important. Wide area, all very important today.
We get thank you there. Great question to Chris as well. He says, do the boys think that there will be this season? Can we win a quadruple? Chris, do I start the season yet? Or even because we go all season unbeaten, are these the standards we set now?
It's expectation. I know the most best thing for me wasn't just the one in the Champions League. And yes, the path was just me to sort of play away, and some of the staff, everybody else was, they were thinking, we were full treble in a row. So it's another one in that treble. And that's the mentality of it. Nobody's ever done that. Can't make it back to back in the league. And the full player breakers for the records, the level mentality players, when they move, they go again and go again. If they do treble again, it's one of the most difficult thing to do. That's the two stuff I've ever done.
It's the manager, coach staff, that's so. But you don't say like mentally, how you don't have feet.
Because they stay high and wide, it forces their fullbacks to stay there, and as a consequence create more space around the field. And I think even last season, at times when Arsenal did get the press a bit better, I think it wasn't very long before we saw a ball get played from Edison, I think to Ruben Diaz. He felt a bit of pressure, ball went up to Erling Haaland. I'll pretend, there we go. Went up to Erling Haaland, who set a ball for a one Kevin De Bruyne, who before you know it then he's driving at the Arsenal back line. So it's a case of trying to figure out when do you press, when do you not press. And given the fact that City can play out with a 2, with a 3, with a 4, and all these players are supremely confident on the ball, and adding the fact that Edison is one of the best players in the Premier League with the ball at his feet, it gives City so many options. I think with this season, maybe Kovacic can take on the role that Gundogan did in that game, or maybe it will be higher. Maybe it will be a fullback coming into midfield, and as a consequence, creating a 3 here. And for Arsenal, they ask the question, well, what are you doing? I think as a player, it's always a tough position to be in where you look around and you don't feel like you're part of the game. Well, that means that you're not helping your teammates. But who do you go to? Is this the right person? Is that the right person? I think that's one of the beauties of Man City and the way that Pep Guardiola plays, is as you're always doubting yourself, maybe this is the right thing, but then all of a sudden you realise that it's not. So I think City, in terms of their build-out, they have options, and as a consequence, that's what makes them one of the best teams in the world.
Love that. Thank you so much, Nadem. That was a Legends Masterclass with Nadem and Nua. So we are only about 13 minutes now away from kickoff in the Community Shield today. You'll get full match commentary, of course, from Alistair Mann and from Michael Brown on the Manchester City app. FG and Big Steve are down pitch side. How you doing, lads? What are you thinking?
Hello, welcome back to Pitchside. Thank you, Natalie. The atmosphere's building, Steve.
Brilliant, really good. Now it's cranking it up. The DJ's got the music on here and we're ready to roll.
Let's get your final thoughts on the game. The DJ has got the music on, by the way. There's some good tunes here. But the fans, brilliant. Sky blue, as always. Feels like we're at home, doesn't it?
No, it's brilliant. Sun's shining as well. Just been watching the teams warm up and... yeah, I'm really excited for it now.
One thing that you did say when we were watching the teams warm up, we were so lucky they're just behind us. They were just behind us. They looked super relaxed, didn't they?
Yeah, they were really, really relaxed, laughing and smiling. Bit of fun out there. And I think they're just glad to be back on the pitch and no bigger occasion in Wembley Stadium.
So let's talk then, the start of the game. How do you see it going? I spoke to Sean earlier and he said he thinks Arsenal might be a little bit fitter than us. They've had a longer pre-season. How do you see the opening stages of the game going?
I think the midfield's the key battle. I'm wondering if they're going to press us really, really tightly and stop us getting on the ball. But I think Rodri and Kovacic in there could be key, trying to make space and make sure we can get out from the back and play. Or, we have seen it before against Arsenal, Ortega can go long to Haaland and bring Haaland into play that way. So it's going to be very intriguing and I'm really looking forward to it.
I mean, that team, that is a dream. Kovacic, Rodri, Bernardo, and that could be the key to breaking the press. We've seen Arsenal last season, they didn't really press us as high. Do you expect them to press us higher from the outset today?
I just think with Declan Rice in there, they've got a man that will sit, and if Manchester City catch him on the transition, they've got a player there who is really good. But no, the atmosphere, listen, as you can hear now, it's going off, but nah, I can't wait.
We are going to get a rendition of Blue Moon very soon, which I'm sure me and Big Steve will be here. Bit tight. Let's talk about Haaland and Alvarez. We said that Alvarez is probably going to be on the right-hand side. For Erling Haaland, it's just... he wants to score in every game, whether it's pre-season, whether it's whatever it is. He is desperate. He'll be desperate to get off the...
52 goals, you know what I mean, last season, unbelievable. And Alvarez as well. This is his second season now. They can both, add to it.
Well, Blue Moon is on, so we're going to go and join and sing with the City fans. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you for watching from Wembley. We'll be back shortly. See you soon.
Thanks so much to FG and to Big Steve. The Arsenal fans were giving it a boo there. Crikey. Well done. That was very loud. You are around about 10 minutes now away from kickoff at 4 o'clock. Alistair Mann and Michael Brown will be giving you full match commentary, of course, as always, on the Manchester City app, the only place to get your commentary. So a big, big game today, and a big game for two big managers, of course, Pep Guardiola and Mikel Arteta. They're going head-to-head again. 9 games they've gone against each other so far in their management careers. Do you know how many Pep Guardiola has won of those 9?
9.
8.
Yeah.
8.
And near enough.
I think, if memory serves me, it was the FA Cup semi-final, of course, when he went on to win the FA Cup. In terms of Mikel Arteta at Arsenal, what an incredible appointment. The club ended up giving him patience at the start, which was needed, and he really seems to have transformed the club. What's your kind of take on Mikel Arteta?
Well, my take is thanks to Man City and Pep Guardiola for releasing him, allowing him to go to Arsenal. He saw the broken Arsenal when he was number 2 at Manchester City. He knew what needed to be done, and it was going to take a lot of hard work. And Mikel Arteta, fair play to him, he got straight down to business, and he made the tough decisions that you have to make as a manager to change the fortunes of the football club. And, in his first part of the season, he won the FA Cup, obviously, and, hasn't won silverware, but you could see Arsenal transforming right in front of our eyes now. And this is a massive season for Mikel Arteta. I think he's got to win some silverware, but to put in a title challenge like Arsenal did last season, I didn't see it happening last season, them going so deep. But, there's always the big boss at the top, which is Manchester City. That's the one who Mikel Arteta's, he has to turn that around.
With your managerial head on, Keith, how do you rate Mikel Arteta?
I think probably, like I say, the transformation of the mentality of the players at Arsenal has been impressive. And again, I think it's always myself personally. I always look at managers when things aren't going well. How do they handle it? How do they conduct themselves? Because how they conduct themselves to the general public does transpire through to the players. And I think you can tell he's disciplined, he's organised, he puts demands on players. He's got a structure of how he wants to work, and how he works, the players have to abide by that and adopt that. If they don't, it's when they go on a different journey. And again, I think he's made some brave decisions, some big decisions, and as a football club, they've borne the fruits of it.
So you can see the teams are out. They're coming out into the tunnels now ahead of today's Community Shield. Paul, what sort of game are you expecting? Is it going to be as competitive as the League and the FA Cup games were last year?
100% it will. Both sets of players, both teams will want to put down a marker. Getting into the season, there's quality all over the pitch. We all know Pep won't change how he sets his team up. Mikel won't change either. You know that they're very focused on what they do is the right thing to do, so they won't change for other teams. An attacking game, and just such good individual battles all over the pitch. You know, we spoke about the midfield. Looking forward to Jack Grealish up against Ben White. I think Bernardo Silva will actually play wide up against Timber. Then the other end you've got Saka against Akanji, Martinelli against Walker. So unbelievable battles all over the pitch. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Give me a score prediction.
3-1 Man City.
3-1. Kevin?
I was going to say 3-1 Man City.
Oh, woo! Okay.
So Dickie's taking it off me.
Yeah. You can have the same if you want. That's all right.
No. I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal.
We switched it.
I'm going to switch. He's taken my score.
Keith?
2-0.
2-0. Of course, no extra time today. If the game is equal at 90 minutes, it will go straight to penalties. Get your full match commentary with Alistair Mann and Michael Brown on the Manchester City app now. If you're not currently watching on the app, get over there now. The only place to get your commentary. We will all be back at half-time talking about the first 45 minutes and, of course, at full-time as well, where hopefully we'll be talking about Manchester City lifting yet another trophy. Enjoy the game.